In this video, I'll go over each of the publicly available projection systems on FanGraphs and explain a little bit about each one is. I think this is a good follow-up video to one I made last year about how to use the FanGraphs auction calculator with one of these projection systems to get a custom set of values for your league. And there are a few new ones out this year, so I think it's appropriate to revisit them and explain what each one is. I decided I'd go over these using Otani as an example. So the first projection in green is going to be FanGraphs Depth Charts, which is actually composite, so I'll come back to that. The first standalone projection is Steamer. I couldn't find a ton about Steamer, but all these projections are going to incorporate three main things, which are regression to the mean, aging, and using multiple years of statistics to formulate a projection. It's also worth noting that Steamer calculates its own playing time. Next on the list is Zips, and I'll talk about Zips and Zips depth charts together. Zips is a projection system made by Dan Szymborski, and this is going to estimate each player's true talent by calculating their expected performance based on previous seasons, park, league, and quality of competition. It then compares how other players of similar true talent perform in the following year to project how a current player will do. There's a post explaining this in a bit more detail, which I'll link below. And the way Zips depth charts differ from Zips is that instead of using this in-house player comparison to generate a playing time projection, Zips depth charts uses Zips for the player's true talent, but then uses FanGraphs RosterResource's playing time estimates to get playing time data. If we take a look back at Zips and Zips depth charts side by side, we can see this difference. RosterResource is a tool on FanGraphs that allows you to see the roster and the roles of their players. You can access it by going to the RosterResource tab to the top right, and then clicking on a team from the drop-down menu. Here we see for the Dodgers that their starting lineup and bench is listed, with players in platoon roles highlighted in red and blue. And if you scroll down, you'd be able to see their rotation, bullpen hierarchy, and then minor league depth. Going back to FanGraphs depth charts, which I said was a composite projection, that is going to be a 50-50 blend of Steamer and Zips using the FanGraphs RosterResource playing time projection. Going back to Otani's player page, we can see that this FanGraphs depth charts is intermediate between Steamer and Zips in a lot of the rate stats and playing time it projects for Otani, and that it uses its own playing time number. ATC is another composite projection, so I'll come back to that later. And next we have the BAT and the BAT-X. These are projections made by Derek Hardy. The BAT was his original projection system he made, and then the BAT-X is a revamped version that blends the BAT with a version he made using only StatCast data called the BATcast, and he then subsequently found the optimal way to blend the non-StatCast projection, the BAT, with the StatCast one, the BATcast, into the BAT-X, which is the best of both worlds. This has been shown to be the most accurate standalone projection the last several years. Last year, it again was ranked most accurate among standalone projections and third place overall. I'll leave a link to a post with more information about the BAT-X in the description. One thing to note is that this has only been available for hitters until this year. So this is the first year the BAT-X is available for pitchers, and that's going to be based on pitch movement data that Derek Hardy has added to the projection system. And in terms of playing time projection, during the off-season, it uses ATC, which I'll talk about in a minute, and in season it uses FanGraphs Depth Charts. The next projection system is OOPSY, developed by Jordan Rosenblum. This is developed more recently and includes a lot of StatCast data, as well as Stuff Plus for pitchers. If you're unfamiliar with what Stuff Plus is, I made another video about that, which I'll link below. And this projection system also uses RosterResource's playing time. One thing I'll note about this projection system is that it's newer, so it's difficult to assess how accurate it is compared to the others. I know that Jordan Rosenblum has mentioned that he has reduced the input of some StatCast factors like bat speed after last year, so it's a bit of a TBD as to how well this performs compared to others. But I will say it does use Stuff Plus, and it has this information for minor league pitchers. So for rookie pitchers, this projection system could have an advantage to the others, but we'll have to see how it goes. Now, going back to ATC, this is a composite projection developed by Ariel Cohen, and what it does is that it combines different aspects of each of the available projections on FanGraphs and figures out which areas each do best at, weights them differently, and combines them all into one. So this is based on a proprietary formula. We don't know exactly how it's made, but we do know it uses the other projections and weights different statistics differently for each projection. ATC also aggregates its own playing time projection, which I previously mentioned. The BAT and the BAT-X also used during the off-season, and ATC is generally the most accurate projection system. This makes sense as it's kind of a wisdom of the crowds approach. And so different weaknesses or biases in certain projections can be kind of removed by incorporating multiple projections into ATC. And so it generally performs pretty good and most accurately year to year. So hopefully this helped you understand all the different projection systems on FanGraphs, why some have different plate appearance projections, some have the same, and why some might tend to be higher or lower on certain players. We can see for Ohtani, for example, the BAT-X, OOPSY, and ZiPS project higher power than the others, and one of the most important things to understand is the playing time projection, as the playing time projection will drive a lot of the counting stat projections. So understanding where these are coming from and making sure that you're picking one that you think is accurate does make a big difference. So if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.